This ESPN podcast is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com.
The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects. The BS Report. The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report. We're taping this on a Wednesday. It's running later, July 4th week. The world's greatest athletes in some order, LeBron, Messi, Aaron Rodgers, I don't know, you go down the line. Johnny Bananas never gets mentioned, and he's a 5-time challenge champ. He's on the line right now. Congratulations on yet another title.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it, man. It's good that our sport is finally getting a little recognition. Well,
it was interesting. You had World Cup that day. You had the NBA draft, and you had the challenge finale. Really one of the great sports days we've ever had in America.
Well, we all know what you were doing, what you had to watch. But I mean, that's your job. So, it's funny, believe it or not, I was actually thinking about you while the final was on because the NBA draft was going on. Now that's what you were doing. But I was like, hopefully he's got it recorded, so he got something exciting he's home and.
I had it. It was on the old DVR. I watched it the next day actually, and almost like it was. I tuned out whoever actually won. I didn't want to know. I wanted to be surprised. I figured it was going to be you and Laurel. Were the odds-on favorites.
I mean, going into it, I felt pretty good the first couple of stages, and then tell you what, man, that Johnny kid's a machine, dude, and he's going to run for my money on the final portion, climbing that volcano. But I think good triumphed once again over evil. So that's good to know.
So let's talk about the elements of your success, your meteoric rise, and then all the titles and everything else. I would say, first of all, you give great toasts in the house. I think that's like 18% of your success. You have mastered the art of just gathering people in a group and toasting them.
You always know, especially going on challenges, there are certain things that every season they will use. And the initial toast coming into the house when you first get there, I've learned, is a surefire way to make sure you are on the beginning of the first episode, and usually kicking off the party. So,
right.
Yeah, I've kind of put myself in the position of a celebratory Toastmaster.
You grab that corner. So there's little tricks that are going to get you on TV, like hooking up in a weird place, like hooking up on the roof, maybe those kind of weird moments,
or in a closet. But those days have kind of left in my past, dude. I feel like what I learned at a very ripe young age was doing these shows is all that does is leads to trouble, man. Hooking up leads to trouble because you now have someone else that you have to vouch for, and the second when you kind of go into the house, you're kind of, free to do whatever you want with whoever you want, basically. Once you start hooking up with one girl, then you're kind of just tied to that one person, and it puts you kind of on the outs with all the other girls in the house, and it kind of creates like a very awkward dynamic that you really don't need. So I learned to go. I stay focused, man, keep my eye on the prize, and it seemed to work the last couple of seasons.
That's interesting. So it's almost a bad political move
to
tie yourself with
horrible
one
political move. Yeah, because how girls are catty, dude, and girls they come into the house, they're always best friends night one, and then by like the first week, 2 weeks, once the game starts really getting into full swing, one girl says something to another girl, this one, and then they start fighting. God forbid the girl that you happen to be canoodling with is one of the ones that's involved in this drama, because now you're involved in it, because now you have to back her up, and the other girls think that you have. It's a sticky, messy situation, dude, and it's something I choose to avoid at all costs.
So really, it's a parallel to college, where you don't want to hook up with people in your dorm because then they don't get along, and then you're on the wrong side and all that stuff. So
you don't want to crap where you eat, man. Yeah.
Right. Good point. The other funny thing is, whoever is one of the newbies always ends up hooking up with somebody on the show.
Yeah.
So they don't know.
I mean, you're like a kid in a candy shop, dude. I mean, when you first show up, when you start doing these challenges, you're like, wait a minute, let me get this straight. We just get to live in this house and do as we please, basically, drink when we want, sleep where we want with whoever we want, and then we get to go out and compete in all these awesome challenges. I mean, it's kind of overwhelming.
Do you do tricks where when you're drinking with these guys, let's do shots, but instead of doing the shot, you throw it over your shoulder? Or you try to ruin everybody for the next day?
I don't even necessarily. I don't even go that far anymore. I just a lot of times, dude, I just don't even. There's very few nights when I actually am like, all right, I'm actually going to tie one on tonight. Most of the time, it's and especially now with the way the challenges have gotten. When I first started doing them, the challenges were so dumb. I mean, they were so easy. Like pretty much anyone could do them. It was more because the show focused more on like the house reality as opposed. The challenges were just kind of a sideshow. Right. And it's come full circle now where the house reality is related to the challenges, and you have to. I mean, you have to train. I actually brought training onto the challenge. Nobody worked out before, like me, Kenny, and Evan basically started, bringing we had to bring our own stuff. We were bringing like workout rubber bands and like a TRX, and that was the extent of the workout equipment. Now they have now every challenge you go on, they have a full gym. I mean, top to bottom stacked. So, and now people actually train and people show up, ready to go. And you have to, because these challenges, if you aren't in shape and you're not, athletically fit, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get weeded out. I mean, obviously, certain people like Devin slip through the cracks, but that's bound to happen on a game that's based on so much luck.
Right. So once upon a time, and some of this stuff's on YouTube, the challenge, before it became our 5th American professional sport, they had, you'd have challenges where it was like who could eat the most oysters, or put on a bathing suit and try to slide down a slide the fastest. Like, it was stuff really anyone could have done.
It was like take your shirt off and smear paint on a canvas using your body, or like melt this block of ice by spitting on it. And that's why if you look, especially, in like the early like 2000s, the people who or even before that, people who have wins, like you have people like Katie Doyle who right. won a challenge, and you look back and you're like, how on earth did this chick ever win a final? And it was because, well, one, it was a 2-team format. So it's a lot easier to win a challenge when you're on a team with 14 people or 8 people than it is to win when you're by yourself or won it with a pair. I mean, just the odds. And that's another thing I don't think a lot of people look at is, there's people out there who have wins, but basically if you make it to the final, you have a 50% chance of winning, and just being there, if there's 28 people and there's 8 people in the final, your odds of being in the end and winning are a lot better than they are now, where the format is now either individual or pairs. So
who was that girl like 10 years ago? I can't remember her name. She was a brunette. She kept getting thrown in the challenge and kept just fighting people off and winning over and over and over again. And it was like one of America's greatest underdog stories that's ever happened.
What was that? Probably the Gauntlet 2, maybe? I'm not sure.
You know what I'm talking about, though?
No,
you might not have been on that one.
I remember Derek's run in Gauntlet. And I think it was what was it? It was either the Inferno or the Gauntlet, dude, where he kept getting thrown in. It was a really weird format. I remember he killed everyone, dude. But
yeah.
I
like when that happens, when somebody keeps getting thrown in and keeps responding. Well, you had you exercised some demons in this season because CT head to head. It somehow works out miraculously for everyone else who was trying to get to the finals that you two are against each other in the last challenge before you go to the mountain, and it turns out to be puzzles.
That was honestly one of the most gut-wrenching moments ever that I've ever had to do in a challenge, hands down. And even though it was a puzzle, a lot of people are like, "Oh man, it should have been physical." You want to know something about CT? Believe it or not, that guy's as imposing when it comes to puzzles as he is physically, if you can believe that. Because I mean, I've never seen him not perform well in a puzzle. He beat me and Frank in puzzles on Rivals 2. He beat Evan years ago, I think on the first duel. He beat Evan, who's a really smart, athletic dude, at a puzzle. The first challenge of Free Agents was a puzzle, and he basically figured it out. And I've never, ever, for some reason, man, puzzles have always been my kryptonite. And the challenge before the final draw, when me and Nani did that thing, we had to run back and forth, and I solved that puzzle. I literally was like, I don't know how I did it. I had like one of those out-of-body experiences, like from the movie Old School.
Yeah.
I don't know what they call it, where Will Ferrell just like blacks out and like just spits out this crazy economic lecture, and then he comes back, he's like, what just happened? Like, that's basically what happened to me on that puzzle final. I think it was insane, but I guess when the rubber meets the road, man, when you're put in difficult positions, I guess that's what separates the strong from the weak, right?
Listen, that's why you're one of the greatest athletes America's ever produced. You and CT, a rocky history, but is it fair to say you guys are like friends now?
You know what it is, dude? I wouldn't necessarily say that we're friends, because no matter what, when we show up to a challenge, regardless of how we act, neither one of us wants the other one there. And I mean, I think it's definitely because our strategies are completely different, and they have a tendency to, overlap sometimes and interfere with what the other person's trying to do. But we got to a point, and this is where I got to with him, where it's like, you know what, dude, we're like the last vets from like from like a bygone era, and all these new kids are coming in, and it's almost like we've both fought so hard so many times, and we've both spilled so much blood in the same mud that it's like at some point it's like, listen, dude, instead of pissing into each other's tents, why don't we just piss out of each other's tents, and we'll just wait till the final, and if we're both there, then we'll hash it out the way it should be hashed out, because I feel like we've both accomplished so much, and we've both brought so much to the challenge and grown it. I really do think that over the past couple of years, me and him, are responsible for kind of the viewership and kind of the fans being who they are, and really kind of bringing it to like another level as far as like respecting those. I mean, just the fact that I'm on the phone with you, talking about the show, and just like after the elimination I did with Jordan, this dude from the Baltimore Ravens, KO 7 Deuce on Twitter, hit me up, and he's like, man, that was great form. And it's like, to be hit up by a professional football player, and to be told, hey man, you look good, you knew what you were doing, like that was great form, and that means the world to me, dude. And just the fact that like we have now brought it to that stage where we're getting respect from professional athletes and from professional sports analysts like yourself. I mean, I think that's a testament to what we've been able to bring to it. And it's like, at some point, it's like, listen, dude, the show relies on the two of us. If we're not both there till the end, the longer the two of us are there, the more people are going to watch, the more people are going to be invested. So it only makes sense for us from a business standpoint, to get along until we don't have to get along anymore, basically.
So it's like you guys were like Kobe and Duncan in the late 2000s with the whole LeBron Durant generation coming up. And you kind of have this begrudging friendship now. That's not really a friendship, but more like respect.
It is. It's almost like what mutual assured destruction, is that what they called it back in the Cold War? Where it's like, listen, dude, I've got my finger on the red button, and you got your finger on the red button, and that's the only reason that we're friends, basically. I guess, that's probably the best way that it can be described.
Is it fair to say CT has calmed down over the years?
Oh, a tremendous amount. Believe it or not, the guy he has. He was. I think the reason why though is because I think he always found himself in the position where, especially on the later shows, where before like while Kenny and Evan were still there, where it was like he was kind of like the asshole that all the guys were trying to get rid of. You know what I mean?
Right.
And a lot of it was because he is a threat, dude. I mean, the guy's a huge threat. So he always, I felt like, was in the position where he'd come into the challenge with his back against the wall, where it's like me against everyone. And I think he kind of liked being in that position, though, because he could be, the mutant that he is. But yeah, I think now that he doesn't have as much, now people come into the house. It's a new generation. And he's kind of free to do as he pleases and act the way that he wants. And, like I said, he doesn't have his back against the wall, so I don't feel like he's not like a rabid dog just trying to bite everyone that gets close to him, And he's grown up, dude. I mean, we all grow up. I'm the same way. I mean, dude, when I used to do these shows, I couldn't wait to get in the house. And, we both had different characters. Obviously, I was never the alpha male tough guy that wanted to punch everyone's head in. But, I wanted to party, and I wanted to drink, and I wanted to get drunk every night. And I'm over that, man. I'm at a different point in life now. Right.
What's the single craziest night you ever witnessed from CT?
Craziest night ever from CT. I wasn't there for the Duel 2, which was arguably one of the most insane nights in history, when him and Adam King
Oh, and he kept coming after Adam. Yeah, I remember that.
Well, the funniest part about that, though, is, and you don't see this if you watch really closely, but that night we always get these swag bags when we show up. Like all these different clothing companies just give us all this stuff for us to wear. And one of the things we had that they had in their swag bags were onesies, like the pajamas with the feet on the bottom.
Yeah.
So it just so happens the night that huge brawl goes down, they had a onesie party. So everyone in the house was wearing onesies when that fight went down. So it's like the most gnarly, knockdown, drag 'em out brawl ever on a challenge, and everyone's trying to like fight and pull people off wearing onesies. So that was pretty gnarly.
Now that you mentioned that, I think I do remember that. That it was
Adam
like, why is everyone wearing pajamas?
Adam King was wearing a onesie when he got his face punched in, dude. It was hilarious.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's probably still having nightmare flashbacks to Angry CT coming after him.
Yeah, I would be.
So do you think Leroy seems like physically he's right with you guys, but you guys have this veteran experience and the savvy, and it's like he's almost like one of those basketball teams that keeps losing in the first or second round and can't put it together. What is Leroy missing?
Okay, there's a lot of angles to Leroy. But first of all, what he's got going for him that is arguably the most important thing in this game is his personality. And the thing is, he's got such a great sense of humor, and he's such like a joy to have around that people like him, you keep them around just for entertainment, the entertainment factor. Because you know how bad the house gets. It gets so horrible. It gets so tense. It gets so awful. Having a guy like him adds like some levity to like, a really intense situation. It's just great to have around. So first off, I mean, he's got that going for him. The only thing that he needs to work on is his political game, because Leroy plays the type of game where he comes in and he kind of just will he just tries to get by day, basically. He's like, listen, if I can get through today and I don't go into elimination today, then I'll do whatever it takes next round. And so it's like he really, his loyalties sometimes come into question. And even with me, I'm one of his best friends on the show. And Rivals 2, the first day, CT got into his head and was like, yo, we got to throw bananas in. And Leroy was like, okay, if that's what everyone's doing, then that's what's going on, So he kind of plays like that. He kind of plays like a survival game the entire time, when it's like being, I don't want to compare it to prison, but it really is. If you don't pick a side at some point, and if you're in the middle and he's like a floater. If you just kind of are floating around the middle the whole time and you never choose a side, then that's going to really reflect negatively on you, because then when it comes down to it, no one's going to have your back, because they're going to be like, well, wait a minute, dude, whose side are you on? Type thing.
Right.
So,
that makes sense.
Who
is the best person?
And he needs to clean up his diet. That guy has the worst diet I've ever seen in my entire life. He wakes up and eats a roll of Oreo cookies every morning. So.
Oh no! Come on, Leroy.
I know, Leroy.
I need better conditioning from you. Everyone in America wants you to make a final.
I know, and you wouldn't know it looking at the guy. He's absolutely shredded like a ninja. Yet, he's got arguably one of the worst diets you've ever seen. It's like you're going to get diabetes before you win a challenge.
So, out of the new generation, seems like you're impressed by Johnny. Had a nice little rookie season. Yeah,
dude. I'm impressed by Johnny from more than one element to his game. The thing that I respect about Johnny the most is the fact that he reminds – everyone says that, oh, you don't like Jordan because he reminds you of you. And it's like there's nothing in Jordan's game or the way he plays that reminds me of one iota. Whereas Johnny came into this game the way you're supposed to, where he kind of like respected the people who have kind of blazed the trail for him to be there, and he kind of like respected the game. And every time he sent me in, he was responsible for sending me into both eliminations that I went into. Both times before he did, he came up to me and was like, hey, dude, listen, I'm voting for you, man. And I don't feel like I need to do this, but I'm going to do it just for respect. And then the one time that we all went into a draw together, same thing. He's like, listen, guys, you pick where you want to go in the order. I feel like I don't even necessarily deserve to be here right now because I'm here by the luck of the draw. So put me wherever you want. And that's the same way I came into the game, where it was like when I came in, it was like I saw these guys like, CT, Brad, Derek, Kenny, Evan, these guys who've been here and been doing it for years. And I'm like, listen, I'm just here to compete. I'm just happy to be here. Show me where I need to go and what I need to do. And that's the way it is. I mean, it's like in any professional sport. It's like that's why, like in baseball, when pitchers report to spring training or in the first couple of games, they're all wearing pink backpacks and like pacifiers, you know, because it's like one of these things where it's like you got to earn the respect and you got to earn your place, and you have to. I don't want to say it again because I've said it a million times. You got to earn your stripes, you know, before you can start popping off. And Johnny got that, dude. And that's just, you know, that's something that can't be taught. That's just something that he is naturally. He's just a good dude. And on top of that, I mean, the kid's got a friggin' motor that will never quit, dude. So he impressed the hell out of me.
So he's a future champ.
He is, man. I'll tell you what, he gave me a run for my money.
And then the flip side, Jordan did not really do any of the things you described that Johnny did.
Not one. If anyone out there ever wants to be, not just compete in a challenge, but just compete in any sort of sports ever, watch the way Jordan plays the game and how he acts and how he carries himself around the house, and do the exact opposite. And I guess that goes for life in general, not just sports.
He wanted a piece of you. It was like professional wrestling, and you had this challenge where you flip over one thing and you either go into the actual challenge or not. And he flipped over all of them because he wanted a piece of you. And then you dispatched him in about 2 minutes.
He got it. I honestly, out of all the challenges, that was the only one that wasn't like a heads up physical challenge.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that's the one I wanted to go against him the least in. I mean, I felt pretty confident whatever we did, but I wanted to do something where I could get my hands on him, you know. But
like that football one where you drop the ball in the basket, that would have been a good one.
That's the one I did against. Did you see the one? That's the one I did against Isaac. Yeah, that would have been a much better one, I think, for the two of us to go heads up. And because it's one of these things where it's like you want to get your hands on someone and you kind of want to hurt them, but you want to do it within the rules of the game. So, and you know, if you do that in the house, you get kicked out, you know, whereas if you do it, it's all fair. You get a few elbows in there and maybe shove some dirt in someone's mouth and have it still be within the rules of the game. So it would have been nice.
Laurel,
hey, there's always a future.
Wow. I look forward to you guys continuing your rivalry. Laurel, does not have a rival. Anytime she's in a challenge, it seems like she wins it and nobody really comes close to her. This time around, Nani was within, I think, like 10 minutes of her of the way the final worked out. And they did show a part where Nani, you had to ride the bike at the end of the first day, and Nani had a meltdown and had to jump off it for a few minutes. And do you think that cost her the title?
That didn't cost. I think what cost her the title was not hustling more when me and her were paired up. And I told her that we were so far ahead of her and Zach. The way that segment of the challenge worked is it was like a two-part thing. The first part was we had to scale the face of this mountain, and then basically the second part was all we had to do was run down the backside of it through like a forest, and we passed them on the mountain face, which was insane. The fact that we made up that much time and actually passed them was crazy. And by the time we got to the top, she was like, "Hey, we're in the lead. What's the worry?" I'm like, "Listen, this is where you make up time. Zach is dying right now. Right. Laurel is tied to him. He's like an anchor. The faster you go, the better we'll do." And she was really just kind of lagging behind, dude. And I was trying to get her motivated, and I was trying to get her running. It wasn't hard. I mean, we were running downhill. But I think, and I've even told her that, I think that's what truly cost her the challenge. But until you actually do a final and until you've actually been through one, you don't really understand what it takes. You know, from a mental standpoint and from a physical standpoint, from like an emotional standpoint. I think now that she's been there and now that she's done that and she, you know, sees what it's all about, I think she's going to come into this one a lot stronger and a lot more ready to fight, especially if she makes it to another final.
And I do feel like Laurel wasn't expecting any challenge whatsoever because she's a machine.
She is a machine.
I think she was a little surprised.
Laurel's a freak. She really is. As far as females go, she is a freak of nature. Her and Emily Schramm. Everyone's always talking about, like, oh man, Zach and CT. We need to see those two go head to head. I'll tell you what, that would be good. But I think it would be great if we see Emily and Laurel go head to head. That'd be amazing.
Well, that hasn't happened yet, right?
No, they had never even been on the same challenge together. So.
Oh, see, that needs to happen.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that would be.
I'm with you on that one. Are we sure? Laurel doesn't seem like a nice person. What am I missing with her?
The thing about Laurel is it's not that she doesn't seem like a nice person. She's wired like a guy. And this is what I even told her this. Most of the girls are there and they're so emotional and they cry and they get all invested in relationships with not only guys, but with girls. You know, they'll be like, oh, a week in, no, she's my best friend. I can't vote her in. It's a best friend. You just met the girl a week ago. And guys don't play the game like that. Guys play the game like, it's like, listen, I'm here, you're here. We at some point, we're going to have to go heads up. Whatever's better for my game is what I'm going to do. And they think strategically as opposed to emotionally. Laurel plays the game like a guy. I think she just lacks the ability to feel like compassion and to be emotional. And she just never, and it comes across as being very cold because she's different than all the other girls that are there, you know, and she doesn't play the game with her heart. She plays with her head, which is why when Jordan was going to call me into the elimination round, she was basically encouraging him to do it, knowing that he had a very real shot of being eliminated. She's like, listen, dude, if that's what you want to do, if that's your strategic move, then go ahead and do it. Whereas any other girl would have been like, no, don't do it. I don't want to lose, you know? So,
right.
So that's the thing is, I mean, she's not necessarily, she's not evil. She's not mean. She just plays, she looks at it like a business, you know, deal. And it's like, she just goes and she does what she has to do. And if she's going to hurt some feelings in the way, then so be it. She just gets, that's the nature of the beast.
Yeah. So maybe she treats the challenge like it's not your typical human experience, but in real life, she's not like that.
I don't know if in real life she's not like that. Cause I even told her on the show, I'm like, Laurel, you're like a serial killer. You're like devoid of emotion. And it really is. It's like you kind of have to like wave your hand in front of her eyes sometimes to be like, is anyone in there? You know? So
if I was a challenge competitor and I was listening to this podcast, my goal would be I would conspire with, if I was one of the males, I would conspire with one of the females to try to get you off your game at the next challenge. Maybe with a whole seduction routine. Maybe like Johnny Banana says he doesn't want to be tied down to anybody. Let's single-handedly change that opinion that he has and try to get him to be more emotional in this game, and that's how we'll break him.
Yeah, I mean, it's never happened before, and the thing, and I think the thing that kind of also puts me in a good place when he shows is a lot of times I go on these challenges and I got my together at home, and that's another big part of it is people don't realize like a lot of these people go to the show and they have very turbulent home lives, you know, whether it's relationships, whether it's family stuff, whether it's financial, whatever it is. A lot of people go in, and when you're in this house and when you're in this environment, it magnifies every issue that you have by 1,000. And I'm fortunate enough to, you know, I've been in a relationship now for the last 2 years with a really great girl, Olympic gold medalist for snowboarding. So that's nice.
Wow.
That gives me something to strive for. Yeah, she was Hannah Teeter. She was in the last Olympics that Sochi, Russia Olympics.
I remember her.
Yeah, man. I actually hit you up on Twitter, DM, and I was like, hey, man, put out the word. My girl's about to compete today.
I might have missed that one.
Yeah,
I had no idea you dated her.
No, yeah, dude. So
interesting.
So you know, and just having that, you know, where I don't have to, you know, where I've got someone that I can talk to and will kind of like smooth everything over, and you know, it kind of it really does make a huge difference. Like I said, having your home life and everything in order when you go, you know.
Right.
I feel bad for people who show up and are kind of just all over the place.
Well, so what happens to some of these people when they don't have the challenge? Like you've almost been able to turn this into, you know, I don't want to say a career, but something you're definitely living off, and you have a website, realjohnnyBananas.com. You sell T-shirts, and you're on this challenge. You know you're probably going to make money on that. Like what does somebody like Nani do when there's not the challenge?
It's a good question, man. I don't know. She's Nani in particular, I know she was bartending for a while. I know she's back home. Her and Kahada are an item now. But as far as for a job, oh yeah, dude, you didn't watch the reunion show. Her and Kahada are they made it official.
I watched probably half of it. I must have missed that part. I saw the first 30 minutes. Wow,
yeah.
Nani and Kahada.
Can you believe that?
I might have talked him out of that one if I was one of his friends.
He's got it, dude. God love Kahada, man. He is arguably one of the most genuine, kindest human beings on the planet. But he just has a tendency, man, to go for those dangerous chicks. And this is
yes.
This is no different than what he got into with in the past. Hey, man, who knows?
He likes walking the tightrope.
Yeah, anyone can change, So we'll see.
So you think Nani, Laurel, and Emily, that could be quite a battle? When is the next one?
We're due to be shipping out pretty soon, dude. If all goes according to plan, and if I end up getting the call to go, I mean, as far as I know, end of summer is the next time that everyone's gonna be going away. So.
Oh, so you're not totally allowed to talk about it then?
No, not really.
But from what we know about the challenge as a cycle and how the show works and how far ahead they have to tape it and all that stuff, it's right to assume that maybe something is going to happen at the end of this.
Yeah, it's right to assume that most likely something's in the works right now.
And it's right to assume that you're training right now just in case you get the call, because you guys never know if you're going to get the call.
I'm always training, man. I always stay ready. There's no off season for me, dude. So I'm always ready.
You're there. Listen, you and LeBron, all these guys, like it's 12 months a year. It's a full-time job.
The thing about the challenge is, I might have mentioned this on the last podcast, but what I love most about is I grew up. I've always been a very competitive person, and I've always been an athlete, and I've always loved sports, and I've always loved competing and stuff. And this gives me an opportunity to have something to actually train for and to work out for. Like, I see a lot of these guys, and it's like they're in the gym every day, and it's like they're dedicated. They're spending so much time, and they're doing all this shit, and it's like, what for? So you can go to the beach and take your shirt off. Like, this gives me, it feels so great to be able to go and train and, have my nutrition on point and everything, and actually have a reason, have an ultimate goal as to why I'm doing it,
What do people say to you when they see you and they recognize you and you're at a bar or you're at a mall or whatever? What kind of feedback do you get from people?
It varies. I mean, it varies from season to season. I think after this one, I've been getting, you're the GOAT, you're the best ever. Like, this is, number 5. Like, I mean, which is different because in the past, even throughout the season, the responses I get from people vary. After the Jordan elimination, I kid you not, I have never gotten more supportive feedback on social media in my entire life. I wasn't even ready for it, because usually the way it works is there's always two camps. No matter who you are, people are always going to want you to go home and always going to want to lose. Yeah. And no matter how big of a dickhead the other person is, it's like there's always a balance. I've never seen it so one-sided in my entire life, where every response I got was positive. And I actually started feeling bad for Jordan after a while, because he was getting absolutely hammered on social media, unlike anything I've ever seen before. So my stock went way up, dude, and I had a lot of people were saying, I've never liked you before. This is the first season. Then comes the Cara Maria incident, where me and Nani send her in, and she ends up getting sent home. So all that goodwill I built up then kind of was all lost again. So, but generally, when I see people out, usually it's pretty positive. Usually people are super chill, and like we were out for the World Cup game yesterday, and there's a ton of people there, and that's what I thought was funny, because people were like, "Man, you should be on this World Cup." And I was like, that's a great idea. Maybe I'll start training for soccer.
We could have used you in the front. We needed another offensive player. I think you guys should have championship belts. I really feel like you guys win, you win the money and all that stuff, but when you show up for the next season, the two people who won should have the championship belt. They should be carrying it.
That's a great point, man. And then you can have who's holding the title currently.
Yeah, just pray you and Laurel just have it over your shoulder. Just very arrogantly just bring it in. Hey, guys, that's what you're looking for.
That's what I need. I need more. I need more, a bigger target on my back than I'm already going to have walking into this next show.
You know what? The producers should be the ones that think of it. They should want to put the target. You guys should have giant bullseyes on you. I
already do. The higher, you know what they say? The higher up on the ladder you get, the bigger the target on your ass gets, dude. And it's never been bigger than this. So, but that's another thing. I'm very good. Listen, other people want to say I'm arrogant, I'm cocky, whatever. I consider myself a very humble person, and when I go on these shows, I don't need to walk around telling everyone, what I can do and what I've done. I just let my performance speak for itself, and I've just kind of developed the ability to fly under the radar a little bit, and that's all I can do going into this next one.
And the toasts. You let the toast speak for themselves. Nobody can do the toast like that. I think you should offer your services to go around to weddings and bachelor parties and things, and you give the toast.
You know what I could do is I could actually make that something I could add on my website where people could go on, and I will make via webcam. They can project on a screen. You can pay for it, and I will do your toast at a celebration that you're having.
It's a great idea. I wish I thought of it for the Grantland 3rd year anniversary last week. You should have given us a toast. It would have been fantastic.
That would have been amazing. Yeah.
So Bill Russell, 11 titles. Kobe Bryant, 5 titles. Magic Johnson, 5. Tim Duncan, 5. Johnny Bananas, 5.
Just being mentioned in the same breath as those guys is pretty amazing, man. Especially
Jordan. Jordan had 6. Michael Jordan, not the Jordan you dispatched in the challenge. Michael Jordan 6. So that's the next guy for you.
That gives me something to strive for.
All right. Johnny Bananas, enjoy the rest of the summer. Good luck if you possibly end up in a challenge that may or may not be happening sometime soon. We wish you the best, and we'll talk to you soon.
I appreciate it, Bill. Thanks a lot, my man.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
Before we go, I wanted to bring on the czar of reality TV, Grantland's own Dave Jacoby, writes a column every week, co-hosts the Right Reasons podcast with Juliet Littman, and just wanted to have him put in perspective this incredible Johnny Bananas reign.
It's amazing, Bill. I just listened to that interview, and he legitimately feels he deserves to be mentioned in the same breath as Kobe Bryant, Bill Russell, and Michael Jordan. And I'm not sure he doesn't. I'm not sure he doesn't either. He's won 5 times.
5.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to win. I can't do any of the stuff that he's done. It takes a special type of person, and Johnny Bananas is that type of person. Special.
I like how much thought he's put into it about how to handle himself in the house and the do's and don'ts. It really does remind me of what you read about Jordan back in the day. Just what kind of mental advantages he can look for.
The way that you approach writing, he approaches the challenge. It's his career. It's what he does.
It's his craft.
Yeah, if you ask an architect, hey, draw a house, no problem. He can draw a house because he spent years drawing houses. Johnny Bananas has spent years on the challenge.
Yeah. You and I have talked about this before, but I'm going to bring it up again. The challenge has become like a triathlon, basically, the last thing. And it's just in general so much more physical and a lot less partying than we used to have. And it's become a much more competitive product. Do you like that direction, or do you wish that they mixed kind of the debauchery element a little bit more?
I think over the years we've seen it evolve, and the sort of the recipe for the challenge has changed a little bit. I think I like the fact that that there is this physical element. It's not like a goofy, stupid challenge. That it is really difficult to accomplish. But I miss some of the partying stuff. So I think that what they should do is sort of format the shoots so they have a couple days off, and during the nights before those days off, they take them to clubs.
Almost like in the World Cup when they have a break for a few days. Like right now, from the final 16 to the final 8, a couple days off for travel to regroup. So you build in a couple party days.
Yeah, and if you notice, one thing I really like about when they go out, when they get in those weird buses and drive to these strange clubs or whatever, is you always know the people that are safe from elimination or the people that are out of the draw, keep an eye on those people on the bus. You know what I mean? Those are the people I like to keep an eye on in those scenes. Be like, oh, they're guaranteed not to be competing tomorrow, so they go extra hard.
What kind of mistakes would you have made if you were in your mid-20s on the challenge?
I'd probably just be naked the whole time. I mean, who knows? Because, like I said, like this is their career. This is what they do for a living. They sit at home and they think, like, how do I get more screen time? What's the storyline that's going to work for me this season? Like the whole CTDM thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm wondering, I'm like, is that real? Like, are they just doing this because they know that they get more screen time and they keep coming back?
Yeah, I think they. Screen time seems super important.
Mm-hmm.
I would rank the priorities like this. Screen time, A. B, trying to get to the finals because you win $15,000, worst case scenario.
Yeah.
C, staying on the show as long as they possibly can just to stay on the show. And I think that's really it.
Yeah, I think
only Bananas, CT, maybe Laurel are the only ones that are just have an end game in their heads the whole time.
Yeah, I think, and that's why those are the names that keep coming up. There's a lot of people that you don't even remember. You know what I mean? Like, what if they start bringing back, like, the challenge, the forgotten season? You know what I mean? There's all those – because the people on the challenge have extended their 15 minutes. They went on The Real World, and they became a public person. But then the challengers have extended that for a decade. But there's all these people like Andre from the first Real World. Like, where's that dude? You know?
Karamo?
Yeah, where's Karamo? Where's Jacquees? Where is Jacquees?
We love Jacquees. I thought Jacquees was a borderline comedic genius.
Where is Jacquees? I want the forgotten season. I've got rumors. I've got rumors about next season because it's just like the NBA. You know what I mean? Just when the finals is over, it's when it starts to become interesting. And just because the challenge just finished its season, it doesn't mean there's nothing to look forward to. You know, we're already talking.
Well, let's hear some of the rumors. To do the Chris Broussard, sources say.
Sources say that the next is going to be Battle of the X's 2, Bill.
Oh.
Which I find interesting. And sources
Battle
say,
of the X's. I love Battle of the X's.
I like
1.
Battle of the X's too. I think Battle of the X's should be pretty much you could take that Battle of the X's and put it in front of anything.
Yeah, that's true. When would Battle of the X's not be a good idea?
When doesn't it work? Battle of the X's Amazing Race. Done. Battle of the X's Supermarket Sweep. I love Battle of the X's. Survivor. Yeah, Battle of the X's Survivor. Done. But,
so we think Battle of the X's. Do we know anything else?
I believe Tom and Jamie from the Real World Explosion have broken up and are now on Battle of the X's. And when I say I believe, I mean I think someone tweeted that to me. So it's not exactly
okay.
You know, it's not exactly sourced information. I don't know if I don't know if that flies in journalism school, but someone tweeted it to me, so it's a fact.
So you need to step up your sources say game. Give me the winners and losers from this last challenge season. Winners first, other than Johnny Bananas.
Johnny Bananas. CT, I thought that CT came off a lot more likable. You know what I mean? He's matured and grown into his own personality. Like he's no longer constantly saying I'm the alpha male and I'm gonna show you why I'm the alpha male over and over and over. You know, which made him sort of like intimidating and kind of like weird. Now he's just is who he is. He's sort of like grown into himself and he's like this is me. I'm the scariest guy here, but I don't have to show you anymore because I've done that for a decade. I liked him a lot. And he actually had more basketball game than I thought. I thought his jump shot looked pretty good. He hit like a 26-footer on Teresa. I thought he was going to get drafted at the draft. Adam Silver's going to be like, and with the 18th pick, the Toronto Raptors select CT from the challenge. The crowd goes crazy.
CT versus Bruno was an argument.
Yeah, it was. It was we actually have in the Grantland channel. There's in the war room, in the draft war room with the Raptors as they decided. They went around the room, CT or Bruno.
The other Johnny, I thought, was a winner. Not Johnny Bananas, but new Johnny.
Again,
new Johnny.
Super likable. He didn't have to go into it. He didn't lose a single draw. So it was like he went into 7 draws and didn't lose a single one. I think that he saw the stains on the back of the kill card. Did you ever consider this theory, Bill?
Oh.
Yeah, I think he knew the stain pattern on the back of the kill card and never flipped it.
Oh, I like it.
I like that theory, too. Not only that.
Speaking of stain patterns, he also hooked up with Nani when she was going after Kahara. Stain patterns there too, but I thought he somehow survived that. Normally it'd be like if you hurt Kahara, you've hurt America.
100%.
And this time around, he just kind of came out of it unscathed.
Yeah, and I feel like him and Kahara are like still boys. Like him and Kahara are like, hey man, like what are you doing tonight? You want to watch a World Cup game? They're like, yeah, cool, let's get together. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
I thought, what do you think about Laurel? Like I would put Laurel as both a winner and a loser.
Winner because she won.
Mm-hmm.
Loser because as Johnny said previously in the interview we just did, like just comes off like a serial killer on these shows. Like she has no human emotion at all.
She really does. Like,
I don't think she's really like that in real life. She just can shut it off like a switch.
If you go to her YouTube channel, she just like sings folk songs with an acoustic guitar. You know what I mean? It's just about love and things. And then you get her on the challenge, and she turns into Karl Malone.
It's almost like when you read about people that work in a morgue, and they just shut off the ability to think that they're dealing with people. These are just these dead bodies that they have to just do whatever with, or or people doing an autopsy. They somehow remove the human element to whatever they're doing. I feel like that's how she treats the challenge.
I feel like that's how she looks at her competitors too, just dead bodies that don't have a human element. I think when she sees Teresa and Nani, she's like, those are just dead. Those are just corpses to me. Everyone's just a corpse. Zach was pretty much a corpse in the final challenge too.
He was. Big cramping issue. Him and LeBron in the same month in 2 of our 5 most important professional sports.
Yeah, those are some of the most prominent athletes that our society has. They have serious cramping problems. I think LeBron handled it better.
I don't think Zach is built for the challenge. I don't think he's built for that final. There's too much endurance in that final thing. I don't think he can do it.
That's the thing. It really comes. It's really a stamina test. It's not a strength test. Like those draw challenges, like when they basically play football. Like the Oklahoma drill. Those are what Zach excels at. But when it comes to long distance things, he just can't do it.
So losers, Zach stamina, Jordan. I think big loser.
Yeah, Jordan's a big loser.
Big loser.
Yeah.
Big loser. Didn't make a lot of friends.
Do you hear in the reunion that he moved to New York?
For what reason?
To be with Laurel.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Really?
That's a real couple. I love that couple.
I do, too.
I love that couple. Good for them. But he didn't come off very well this season. I did like it when he flipped all the kill cards, though. He's like, I want you, Johnny Bananas, and then he lost.
Even if it was so stupid, it was a great moment.
I liked it.
My only thing is, I wish he hadn't. The big mistake he made was tipping it off. Mm-hmm. I think if he had just done it without anyone even knowing what was going on, and he had just come out and done it, I think that would have been one of the great moments in challenge history. But it was like he just tipped it off, and he was vacillating back and forth on it, and I thought it kind of made it less cool.
Did you remember that conversation with Laurel where he's like, I think I'm going to flip over all the kill cards. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I should do, right, Laurel? I totally trying to give himself an out where Laurel, the girl that he's like dating or whatever, he was just waiting for her to be like, you know what, Johnny, like it's so important for you to be here. I'd rather you just guarantee that you stay here. And Laurel is just like, yeah, good idea. Go for it.
Right.
I loved it.
Do it.
I loved it. What do you think?
I see dead bodies, and that's all. Do it. I have no emotion.
TJ is a winner. TJ is a winner from this season. I thought TJ had a sleepy good season.
He's almost ineligible for the conversation.
Do you remember when they were having an argument?
Teresa's basketball game, big winner.
Teresa's excellent. Between the legs, she's inside outside game. You could tell she's a good passer. She looked good dribbling. She had a crossover. I liked it.
You've always loved Cara Maria. But Teresa, you've always also loved any girl who could play basketball well while remaining attractive. Mm-hmm. Was there a power ranking shift at all for you, platonically?
No. I think
Cara Maria is still yours. The only person you bought an eBay painting from.
It was on Etsy, and it's an excellent painting of a zebra. It's in my office. I look at it every single day for inspiration. Remember when,
So she's... Yeah.
She competed with a broken hand. She said, you can cut my hand off. I'm still going to try to climb this wall and beat Laurel. I loved it. I loved everything about it. She had a great season, too. She needs to change her hairstyle, though. Like, come on, girl. It's been a decade.
What a competitor. Yeah, she has looked the same for like 6 years.
Yeah, it's just like she picked one freaky look and then just stuck with it. So change up.
Favorite moment of the challenge? Favorite moment from this season?
Favorite moment from this season was probably... I'm going to say the Jesse from Portland v. Cara Maria elimination. It was excellent. It was like a really good prize fight. You ever watch a boxing match? You're like, wow, it was like Gotti Ward. It was like, this is just going back and forth. I have no idea who's going to win. It went on for like 15 minutes. It was excellent, excellent, excellent theater and drama. It was on the same nights as a Spurs Heat finals game. And I was like, this is like this is much better than that finals game. Like the level of competition, the drama, the storylines. I was like, this is like I am who I am, and this is more captivating television than the NBA Finals. That's just how I feel. It's a subjective opinion. You can't tell me I'm wrong. So,
Czar, what do we do now for reality? July, August.
Bachelorette's
looking pretty grim.
Bachelorette's wrapping up. I've got a new love, Bill.
Yeah?
Naked and Afraid.
Oh,
I love Naked
Discovery
and Afraid.
Channel?
I love Naked and Afraid. I don't know what channel
just for all the blurkling?
It's just so good. It's so good. It honestly makes Survivor look like a catered wedding reception. It does. It makes Survivor look like camp. It's amazing. It's the best show. They had to kill these little birds in the last one. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. They didn't eat for like 8 days. They couldn't make fire. They're freezing. There's baboons that wanted to attack them. Baboons, Bill. Baboons are scary.
I know you and Juliet have covered this on the Right Reasons podcast, probably. But is Nick on The Bachelorette? Is he in it for the right reasons?
That's up for debate. He's certainly going to win. Right? Can you see anyone else winning? It's not going to happen.
No, anytime somebody's this confident with 5 to go or 4 to go, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Usually they know. Usually there's been some sort of conversation that wasn't for the cameras where whoever the Bachelor or the Bachelorette is says to the main contender, like, look, we're just going through the charade here with all the cameras, but I'm picking you. That's the vibe I'm getting right now.
Before the Lionel Hollins thing, Brian from The Bachelorette was actually in consideration for the head coaching job of the Nets. It's true. They liked his performance on the show, you know? He did a great job motivating his team.
I have an offer for ABC and the people that run the Bachelorette franchise because they try to incorporate sports into the show from time to time. And it never works. It always goes awkwardly, especially when they bring in real athletes. And it's just there's always a variety of mistakes they make. Jacoby and I are available. We're not hard to find. We work in the same company. ABC is owned by Disney. So is ESPN. So is Grantland. Come find us. When you have an idea like, hey, we're going to have basketball in this one or we're going to have softball, just bring us in. Take us out to lunch. Run us down what you're doing.
We'll pay for lunch.
Tell you what to do and not to do. Yeah, we'll pay for lunch. We'll pay to help your franchise.
We'll pay for the Uber to come over to the office. We'll come to you.
And we'll tell you what to do and not to do because what we would have told you with the WNBA episode was don't have these guys play the 5 WNBA players. It's going to be terrible. They're going to get killed. Just don't. Yeah. Either split them up and just get 4 WNBA players. Put 2 on each team. Have them pick captains and do it that way.
Exactly.
But don't do the thing where you think these guys can beat the WNBA players because even Jacoby and I would never have tried that.
No. And you know that they're not going to win. And you could tell that it went poorly, so the producers were like, we have to have them play each other. So they had to take a Sharpie and like draw on their inside-out uniforms the team name. It was like, what is this? Like, what is the budget on the show? You just made a sports uniform with a Sharpie.
Right. And meanwhile, they're in like some mansion that probably costs like $100,000 a month to rent.
And the score at halftime was like 4-2 or something. It was like less scoring than the World Cup.
They're flying to Greece. They're flying to Italy. They're flying all these different places, but they had to use Sharpie jerseys.
I kind of feel like the Bachelorette having a Belgium episode before the USA-Belgium game kind of cost us the game.
Omen.
It cost us the game.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Bad omen.
It cost us the game. But please, Bachelorette
people. She seemed way
people,
too happy in Belgium.
Reach out to us, man. Just take us to lunch. It'd be great for us. You don't have to pay us a cent. We just want to watch a better show, and we want to help you make it better. It's a standing offer.
Every season they bring sports into it, especially when it's Bachelorette, because they want to get the guys competing against each other in some sort of testosterone type situation.
Exactly.
In my opinion, they don't do it enough. I would go to that well 2 or 3 times where you have guys just trying to beat each other up to get the free date or the free rose or whatever's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You want to work that testosterone to your favor in the favor of the show.
Totally.
Huge mistake. We're here.
Yeah,
Mike Twice and whoever else runs that show.
Do you hear the next Bachelor is going to be? Rumors. Sources say.
Sources say who?
Farmer Chris.
No.
Yeah, I like it.
No.
I think farmer is a great job title. Everybody loves farmers. Everybody supports farmers. No one's against farmers. Farmers have 100% approval rating.
Well, I'll tell you, if they have that season, There will be somebody on that show who's not on it for the right reasons. Doesn't want to live on a farm.
Yeah. I wonder if some people back out. They're like, that means I live on a farm?
No, nobody's going to back out. Just people are going to be like, I'm on this show. I want to get to the final 6. I want to present my bachelorette candidacy. And then I'm going to have a parent mysteriously die with no verification. Or an aunt that I was really close to, or a grandmother. I'm going to be forced to leave the show.
I have high hopes for Bachelor in
My house
Paradise.
burned down. I got to go.
Don't you have high hopes for Bachelor in Paradise?
When you took Bachelorette, I'm here.
It also puts
that's the last thing we should talk about.
Yeah,
so we do
really
have
quick.
good reality TV coming.
Yeah. Oh, Bachelor in Paradise. One of the things I'm most excited for is Chris Harrison's wardrobe. It looks great. He's got like these light tan linen suits going on. He's in paradise. You can tell Chris Harrison had a great time filming this show.
And he's single now, and it seems like he went to the producers and said, we should do a summer thing. And by the way, I'd like to spread my wings a little for this one.
Yeah.
Maybe even a hint of sexual tension with one of the cast members that's inappropriate, and the producers have to intervene. Whatever needs to happen.
Yeah, I'll sacrifice.
I'll
make a sacrifice for the show.
Maybe I'll do shots, and I shouldn't have.
We have Michelle Money. Do you remember Michelle Money, Carlos Boozer's ex?
I do.
She's
the
best. She took down the Jazz, and now she's taking down another franchise, the Bachelor franchise.
So it seems like this is the closest we've ever come to Paradise Hotel, which was our favorite reality show of all time.
All time. I often get Paradise Hotel and Temptation Island confused.
No, Temptation Island was the couples that came on and people tried to break them up. Which, by the way, was the second greatest show ever.
Again, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that format? Oh, by the way, you come here as a couple, and then we're going to try to break you guys up.
The beauty of Paradise Hotel was that the rules constantly changed, and people came in and out, and anytime it started to get even a little bit stale and people started to couple up, they would bring in new people and figure out a way to get rid of whatever to keep the show interesting and fresh. It was beautifully done. Artful.
That's where Bachelor in Paradise, it's advantageous for you. You are motivated to couple up and then sort of approach the show as a couple. And in Paradise Hotel, it was the opposite. It's like you are motivated to sleep. You're basically motivated to live in a polyamorous community. That's what they want. Yeah. That's really what they want. They just want a polyamorous community. And I love it. I love it so much. They should bring it back. We should just run it on ESPN Classic for a week.
Great pool scene, too, with the bartender.
Great pool.
With the bar and just everybody's hanging up by the pool and they can't resist having a drink or two and then stuff would happen.
The pool was like an acre. And they lubricated that show, too. Everybody was drunk all the time. I love that show. Remember they had to sleep together? Every night you had to share a room with someone of the opposite sex.
Co-ed roommate.
Every single night. And it was different every night, too. It wasn't just there's your roommate. It's like, nope, now we have to sleep in the same bed with a different person every night. God, I love that show. Bring it back.
I don't know what ABC's thinking because I've seen their schedule.
It's sitting right there.
Listen, some of those shows are not making it to November. I'm telling you right now. Not a controversial opinion. There's going to be some shows that last 4 episodes, 5 episodes, or 6 episodes. What they have with The Bachelor in Paradise is a show that could go 52 weeks a year on Tuesday night at 10 o'clock.
Yep.
Never have to take it off the schedule. It just indefinitely goes.
It can live stream constantly.
Just
it would
never
just
ends.
always be on. I would love to just watch them eat breakfast. I would love that.
Yeah. Just never ends.
Have it on
They're
in the
just
background.
there forever. They're at the Paradise Hotel or whatever they call it forever. Just never leave.
I love it.
Just stay on for as long as possible. Speaking of staying on as long as possible, we have to end this podcast. You were about to tape one with my old buddy Jalen Rose. Please say hello to him.
I will.
And enjoy the week. I think we're done with BS reports this week. Enjoy the July 4th. Check out Grantland. We have some good stuff coming up the rest of the week. And drive safely. Go USA. Thanks, Dave Jacoby.
Thank you, brother.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Podcenter at ESPNRadio.com.
Peace out.
Geico presents Strange Savings Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.